There are several things that absolutely must occur during your remote final expense sales presentation to make it highly effective. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today in this video. I'm Doug Massey, and none of this will really matter if you don't have a way of speaking with people. In other words, if you don't have a system or a platform like the one that we use, where you are guaranteed to have a bunch of sales presentations every single day. With all that behind us, the first thing you must do is sound smooth and professional. You got about 5 seconds to leave a first impression. So if you're fumbling and bumbling about, forget it. You may have already blown the sale before it even started. And the first thing I'm going to do is just say hello and explain how they got to me or how we found each other. And generally, like with our agents, we have an appointment setting system. So the client actually sets an appointment and they get a text message and they expect a call from you. We point that out. Yep. Hey, Janet, I'm just calling for our appointment. Number two, you need to get into the differences between whole life insurance and term life insurance. And my suggestion is to just have a little, maybe like 1 or 2 minutes that you spend on the topic. And that's also a good time for you to find out if they have other insurance and what type it is. Is it whole life? Is it universal life? Is it term life insurance? You want to find out how much insurance they've got. And if it's term insurance, how much time is left on the term? You may actually have yourself a really good replacement scenario set up. And of course, you have to build a lot of rapport throughout your presentation. Now, I will say this, the system that we use, we don't build as much rapport up front as we do after the client says, well, they got to think about it. We actually use that excuse as an opportunity to build more rapport and also to talk about the product, to get into the product presentation. The bottom line, you should absolutely take every single opportunity possible to build as much rapport that you can. The more rapport you can build up front, the better. If they start talking about something, especially, and sometimes they will actually talk about a funeral, hopefully your presentation actually leads you into that option, into that opportunity. When they do, you got to let them talk about your experience, share with them some stuff that'll help them to make it easier for them to open up and share with you. Then, of course, you got to be prepared to do the underwriting. You know, that is a whole training in itself. But what I like to do is I use like a little underwriting cheat sheet with all the carriers on it, or the insurance toolkits. That thing's a really good quoting software that will actually help you with the underwriting, and it's pretty accurate too. Next, you absolutely must have a system in place for dealing with objections. Even the most interested buyers will give you objections. The trick is you have your system in place. You know they're going to say, well, I got to think about it. And then you know they're going to say, well, I still got to talk to my kids first. You have to be prepared with what to do. And that's one of the things that we teach our agents is a system of using that opportunity to, once again, build more rapport, build value in the product, and then go back to reclose. And we generally know that this is going to happen multiple times during a sales presentation. You got to have a strong close. Now, one of the things that I see new agents doing all the time is they tend to go off script for the close. And if you're using a really good presentation, it should have a close in it that's like word for word. In other words, you're not going off script to do the close. Now, let me just say this. You may go off script during certain parts of the presentation. That makes sense. You want to use your own words, right? You don't want to read a presentation and have it sound like you're reading a presentation, right? But when it comes to the close, like with our presentation that we share with our contracted agents, I always recommend do exactly what is written in the close word by word. And we would even do training on that too. It's just too easy to sound like you're giving them an option to delay it another 10 years. And I think the biggest fail for new agents is that they try to do it their own way, or they get a little nervous and they don't do it correctly. Don't go off script. Have a solid, hard close. Do your ABCs, right? Always be closing. Once the sale is done, you have to do a cool down. So what do I mean by a cool down? You need to spend at least a few minutes talking about anything other than insurance. And generally, what I recommend doing is maybe having a bunch of notes, like even taped to your wall, of topics that you can bring up. Everything from, look, yeah, you can talk about the weather, what they're going to do with the rest of their day, the rest of their week, or any holidays coming up, hobbies, stuff that they do, stuff that you do. By this point, by the time you've already closed the sale, you may have already hit on that. You absolutely want to talk more and get them to open up more with you. The idea of the cool down is so that they don't feel like a hit and run. In other words, they don't feel like they just got sold something and then all of a sudden they start getting this buyer's remorse. You want to keep the rapport going as long as humanly possible, including and especially after you close your sale, which leads to pretty much the last thing. You absolutely must stay in contact with your clients. What we do is we set up automation so when their birthday comes around, we get a reminder and then we can give them a text message or a call or even send them a birthday card, stuff like that. You'd be surprised. You call your client, even their kids don't call them for their birthday. Do that, stay in touch. And what I recommend is like every 6 months for you to just reach out to them, even a text message. Hey, it's Doug, your insurance agent. I'm just checking on you. Do you have any questions about your insurance? If so, please reach out to me. I'm always here for you. Oh, and finally, actually, yeah, there is one last thing. I highly recommend that once the sale is over, within 24 hours, you send out your new client a welcome packet. So basically a thank you note, something that's professional, that has like the draft day on it and maybe the premium amount. That way they don't forget. Have your business card in there, maybe a brochure from the insurance carrier. Stuff like that goes a long, long way. One of the products we sell is the SBLI final expense product, Savings Bank Life Insurance. We also sell Guaranteed Trust Life. Now, the thing I love about both of those carriers is that they use the Sequoia Concierge Plan. Now, it's similar to what Lincoln Heritage does and Senior Life does, Senior Life of Georgia does, as to where it actually helps the client to take care of the funeral arrangements so their family isn't stuck doing that. One of the last things that's done, I let them know, hey, you're going to be getting a call from somebody from Sequoia Funeral Concierge, and they're going to help you to set up your funeral needs. That way your kids don't get stuck with all that mess. If you'd like more information on our remote final expense sales platform, and we're talking about the one where you can get 20 to 30 appointments every single day of people that are expecting a call from you with a quote for affordable life insurance, just email me at that same address. Most important, when you put the needs of your clients first, everything else will usually fall right into place. So either get out there or get on that phone and do something good for someone today. Happy hunting.